Okay, and I'm going to mute everybody, and then I'm going to find Michelle and unmute her. Michelle is, okay, mute all. There we go. Okay, let's see, and then where's Michelle? Michelle, unmute Michelle. Okay, good. Okay, so Michelle, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, and everybody else is on mute. So, folks, good evening. It's Dr. John Gluckman in South Surrey, BC, and we're doing our Ruby and Above series of calls. This is our second call, and Michelle McComb Vigar, I think I'm saying it correctly.
Vigar, pretty
Vigar,
close.
okay, Michelle.
Yeah.
McComb Vigar is our guest, and I met Michelle about 3 months ago when I did a talk in Nanaimo, and she was kind enough to record that talk and send it to me. It was the first time I'd seen myself, actually how big I am from the perspective of other people. But and then we did it another time, and she did another recording. So I really appreciate that. Another thing that Michelle does that really boggles me, because I don't know how she does it, but every time there's an important message, Michelle tags, I don't know, 70 or 100 people. And I don't know how you do that. Is there a list that you can do that, or do you have to individually tag every person?
I tag every individual. I don't know if there is a way that you can just do a list and tag a list in there, then
yeah.
I would, yeah, that would be so much easier. But I do each individual distributor.
You're amazing. So, and so that's part of your leadership style, is that you keep everybody in the loop on everything that's going on. And maybe that's what you've done from the beginning. So why don't you tell us where you were before Igalen came to you, and how it came to you, by way of and all of that. So just give us a quick little brief history.
Sure. So I had been 2.5 years with another company. I was doing very well with that company. I never thought that I would ever leave, to be honest with you. And one of my girlfriends, Angie Sampson, had shared with me, she phoned me in mid-December, and she shared that there was this new company coming up and this new product. And she had said on the phone call that it was a carb blocker. And of course, you know, I went, oh, I'm going to be your best customer type thing. And then she sent me the videos of Dr. Rajan and Dr. Aarons. And then the goosebumps started. My mom had had a stroke last July, a year ago. And in those videos, it was about, you know, heart disease and strokes. And so it was a no-brainer for me. I said, okay, Angie, you need to hook me up with corporate. I want to talk to somebody. So I got on the phone with Janet Jorgensen. And it was a really pleasant conversation with her. And I said, you know, I have to check with the, can you imagine? I was just about ready to say no. I have to check with compliance of my other company and see if I can do this. And it was a go. So I tried to do both of them for a while, but you know what? It was just, I could tell where my vision was. How my mom had been doing in the trials, how I had been doing in the trials, how at the time he was 4, had been doing in the trials, and it was a no-brainer. So it led up to this 100% full time.
So, Michelle, were you involved before we actually launched on January 30th? Did you actually have? Oh, so you had to wait along with Jana and some of the other ones for the product to actually get here.
Yeah.
Now, the other night she showed us this diamond run to Vegas, and one of the things that I was amazed by was these large pieces of paper with all these people, all these circles that she had everybody do. Did you do that as well?
I didn't. I really, well, I shouldn't say I didn't do that. I wrote people's names down, what side they were going on, but it just got too big. It got too big too fast. And, you know, I also look after children, so it's just really, seriously, it was just too much. So I just had to put faith in that Igalen would serve me well if I just got the names off to, at the time I just needed to get my names off to Jana, and Jana was looking after getting them in the system, right? So honestly, it is. It's just I just have to put my faith out there that everything is going to work out well, and it has. And so this run now that we're doing with the circles, I have started, and it's starting to take off. And it's like, oh my God, I can see why you'd have to paste on the living room floor, put your papers on the living room floor, and like tape them all together. It's like a huge, big family tree,
Yeah.
really. So it's yeah, it's pretty amazing what she did, for
Well,
sure.
good, good. So yeah, we'll talk some more about that later. But so at the beginning, obviously, then you know you had a great support system. You know, you were one of the original ones. You know, basically before we had any infrastructure, any real product, or any leadership
Hmm.
calls or anything like that. So, but you'd had some experience with another company before. But before you got into network marketing, what was your profession? Were you in teaching, or what was your profession?
Um, well, I'm a foster parent, so I'm a professional mom. I
Yeah.
mean, I've had other jobs before. I used to manage curves when they first opened up and got
Mhm.
going. I managed curves, and then I also worked for a water company.
Mhm.
But I would have to say my career has been a professional mom.
Wow.
And I can hear the baby screaming downstairs. And my husband's doing a very good job of soothing the baby. So I can't guarantee kids won't run up here and say anything. So
So the
it's
current baby is one of yours, or you know, one of the foster children?
it's a foster child. We have older kids, and then we have a 5-year-old now. And he
Mhm.
was one of our special babies, but we're a special baby home, and so that's. But
Wow.
I can hear that he's quiet now. So my husband did a very good job.
Well,
He's, yeah,
that's very
so
admirable.
it's busy. It's a busy house for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you for finding the time to share
Thanks.
this product with so many people as you have done. Now,
Yeah.
how long did it take you to get to Ruby the first time?
Oh, um, within the first month of our launch, we hit Ruby. It was all there was Eileen and myself, Julie,
Mhm.
Dory hit no, um, Brett. I think we all hit at
Oh.
the same time. So I think it was the very first month. To be honest with you, it was a little bit. Holy smokes, we did it. Um, yeah.
So is Dory and all that downline under you, or is it the
No, no,
sideline?
totally different leg. I'm
Yeah,
on totally other side.
sure, sure.
Yeah, but we sure keep good company, don't we?
Absolutely. Now, when you first got into network marketing, obviously you must have had a very substantial why in order to be able to devote the hours that you did away from the babies and the children. What can you identify for people what your why was?
Um, and it still is. My husband's worked very hard all his life. Ever since he was young, he grew up in Alberta. He grew up in Ontario, and he picking tobacco. He's worked from a very young age. He worked 2 jobs when his older 2 girls were growing up. He missed out on an awful lot. I want him to be at home so he can help raise Asher and enjoy raising Asher. So my why of doing these, well, the network marketing has always been to get him home and get him retired. Um, although I think he doesn't want to come home because he knows how hard it is to have all these kids here. And my other why is since my mom got sick. My other why is so that, Mark and I paid for her equipment in her home when she got home from the hospital. And, she's on Emulin, and it's been amazing for her recovery. But I don't want them to stress about the finance part of having my mom be sick and looking after. So that's another why. Um, and I don't have just one. I've got several whys. And one of the other whys is when kids are in our home, they're our kids. They're not somebody else's kids that we're just caring for. And so, we've cashed in tons of RSPs through this journey. But I just want to be able to do it and give them the best life that they can have while they're with us. So I have several different whys.
Well,
Yeah.
you're quite an inspiration, I think, compared to some of the people that just want to get a car or fancy vacation. Yours are very
Oh, I want them
human.
too.
That
No.
too, but yours shows a very humanitarian side of you. That's wonderful. I applaud you for that. Um,
Thanks.
so then, now in terms of your current team, how do you communicate with them, and do you have regular calls with everybody? Do you do your own Zoom calls, or what's
Uh,
the process of keeping in touch with everybody and motivating people?
so I have a chat. There's several that they've left the chat because it can be a lot. Maybe they're working full time, or they have other stuff, and when they're ready they come back. But I run a chat. I try to keep up with messaging majority of them regularly, but I also, and I just recently did this again, was that you know where I am if you need me. So because I've gotten busy. I mean, I've got over 41 distributors, personal distributors, and then my customers as well. So you get busy, but they all have my number. They all have my contacts. So it's up to them. If they need to get a hold of myself, they know where I am. And as far as leading, I don't do Zoom calls yet, John. I know that it's almost time for that. Coming from another company where it was every day, oh, there's an emergency call, we got to get on it, or there's this team call, because we don't just have one leader, we have several leaders. So I took feedback from my team and asked, what are you looking for? If there's something huge coming up, then we have done Zooms, right? We have done the Zoom call or the conference lines.
Yeah.
But if they can just get on one call, whether it's your call, Jana's training calls, there's lots of calls throughout the week. If they can get on one of those calls, then I'm really proud of them for doing that. Sometimes it could be overwhelming, I think, for people to think they've got to be on every single call, plus your own team call.
Okay.
It's coming, and I know it's coming. I know I have to do that. But for right now, I think it's working well for me, just having them tap into Jana's call. Because I duplicate what Jana does, so whatever she's doing, it's going to work for everybody else. So
Okay, so that was going to be my next question to you. So you've already mentioned the word duplication, and I just wanted to ask you about what you have done downline from you to have duplication. If you've got 41 people personally sponsored, which is just awesome, what are you seeing people doing the same as you?
I'm hoping they are. I think that the ones that are you can tell they are.
Yeah.
Right? The ones that are tapping into the phone calls, the training calls, the ones that are getting the videos, the ones that are asking the questions, and using three-way calls, and you can tell the ones that are. It shows. So
well, sure.
yeah.
So now, speaking of your mother, because right at the very beginning when I got involved, you were one of the people that I followed, because you're very active in the Facebook groups, and so I went back to the very beginning and just worked my way back up from the bottom up, and looked at all the posts, all the testimonials, all the comments, and it was very interesting to see the progression that you were reporting about your mother. How is your mother doing now?
She's doing pretty good. I think she was starting to give up a bit. I mean, she's at home, and when you fight so hard to get home, and then you get home and it's not the same, right? It's not there. She was very social. She threw lots of garden parties, and they would go camping and did a lot of traveling in their motorhome. So she gets home and it's not the same. So I think she just went through a little bit of not the spark wasn't in her eyes. And I said that to her too. I said, are you giving up? And she's like, meh. But with that being said, her inflammation on her right side is gone, and it's the same size as on her left side. And her speech, I mean, she's spitting words out more and more. I talk to her every day. And this morning when I was on my way to Duncan, I called while I was in the car, and she said, I'm on the deck in the sun. And so that's amazing, because she's aphakic. So her speech, when she can spit words out, it's always, what'd you just say? And then she'll start to giggle, and then we cry, and it's kind of fun. But yeah, she's a fighter, and she's done very well.
Having lost my dad to a stroke 2 years ago, I know the process. It's not a lot of fun.
So fun.
Yeah. And now, as you know, I'm taking care of my 92-year-old mother,
Yeah.
and we just had her at the geriatric checkup, and her condition has been going down quite fast in the
Mhm.
past year. So it's a challenge looking after an elder that has had a stroke or dementia or any of those
Yeah.
conditions. So now, in terms of the convention coming up, I'm sure
Yes.
you've already committed. Do you have
Yes.
many of your team members already going?
Yeah, actually, I do. I have quite a few. I would say, right, personally, I have like 6 that have already booked and bought their flights, and they have team that's going. So it's pretty exciting. It's
Why do
really
you
exciting.
why do you think it's important that people go to events? Why don't you share some of your thoughts on that so some of the new people on the call might pick up some information from you on that?
Well, I think if you can make it there, then and there's training, so you're bringing back a whole lot. But there is nothing greater than going to a convention and having all these people that are from Galen and taking Emulin and sharing stories and all of that just like amplified. It's you. I'm grinning even bigger just thinking about what's going to happen, right? So then you bring that home with you. People want to be that happy as you. People want to know, why is Michele so excited all the time, and you don't want to miss them. You really, really, truly don't.
So
They're amazing.
I would put you in the column that supports going to conventions.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure.
That's
And it's
good.
even better because you have the chance to get it all paid for. So might as well
Well,
take advantage of that, right?
well, that's amazing that the company made that offer. And I know one of my team members has already got most of her trip paid for plus.
Oh
And
my
and
gosh,
so yeah, that's pretty amazing.
that
So
is.
then
Congratulations to her.
yeah, well, you probably know who it is too. So the launch in Vancouver back on 2 months. In fact, it was 2 months ago today,
Yeah.
on the 27th of May. And I think that was another time that we had a chance to meet. And you brought quite a few people from the island with you. Did you get a boost in your production and your activity and recruiting coming out of that event?
Not personally, but I had people from Washington State come up, and Saskatchewan and Alberta came out too on my team. It wasn't personally; it was my team did
Yeah.
at that time. And to be honest, how I work is I go in little spurts, and I do it for myself, and then I work on my team, and then I do it for myself, and I work on my team.
Right.
It just kind of works that way. But my team had great results from being in Burnaby,
Okay.
which makes me have great results.
Well, so that's the point I wanted to have you make to the rest of the folks here, that one of the principles in network marketing is working to events, from event to event to event, and the whole principle is to grow your team from event to event. Now, we've only had the two event, the one event so far really in May, and we're going to have the next one in October. And now that Jana
Mhm.
has come forward with this fantastic, diamond run to Vegas,
Yeah,
would you encourage people who haven't heard about this, who haven't committed yet, to get on board and give it a full 90 days effort to try and get to Ruby and Diamond?
absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, I was talking to one of my new distributors, Cindy Clark, who has a new distributor named Cindy as well. And they're kind of like deer's caught in the headlights. So I said, are you guys available tomorrow night? So, and I was sitting down making some planning today. So what I'm going to do is actually on a regular basis, just bring people into my living room, watch the videos on the TV. Let's go do a little bit of training. How can you build while I'm in my launch? So while I'm in my launch and Cindy's in her launch, how can your people that are signing up, how can they also build and launch the same day as you and come out of the gate superstars? So I'm going to start filling up my living room. Julie does an amazing job at the Nanaimo Golf Course every month. So I know that people are brought there. But you guys, it's what a better way to feel like you're part of a team or feel comfortable. Julie does it in her living room too. So I got to put that out there. But bring people into your living room. Living rooms are quite the coffee place and the tea place. So enjoy your living room while you're sharing your business and sharing how you're going to help these people build their team,
Well,
if that makes sense.
with all the beautiful women on your team, I should be in your living room more often.
Yeah, I've got some pretty amazing women.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Now we've had some amazing testimonials come up about almost every condition, but as you know, Dr. Rajan has really put the marker down that we are to talk more about inflammation rather than diseases. And have you made that point with your team fairly strongly?
Mm, well, I'll tell you the point I make with my team is just keep the stories real, keep it true, keep wear your heart on your sleeve. Don't exaggerate, don't fabricate. Just keep it real. If you're taking it, like when I first started using Amulin, I have fibromyalgia, chronic migraines, everything that goes with the fibromyalgia.
Wow.
So I did not know, however, in the end of May, I found out I was diabetic.
Oh.
So my story started with my mom and my 4-year-old. He every year since birth, he would have one bout of pneumonia, and he had asthma really bad. He has not had a puffery. He didn't even get sick this winter. So that's his story. But my story was about the fibromyalgia and the migraines and the energy. And then my energy dropped. I didn't have energy, and it was like dragging my butt. But we had a new baby in the house, so I wasn't sleeping. That's what I was chalking it up to. But I found out I was diabetic and I was really low on iron. So now my story is that, yeah, I was put on metformin. I was put on it because I didn't even realize how bad my sugars were. I'm off of my metformin and my numbers are good, right?
Wow.
So, and my iron levels are coming up, and I'm having really good energy. And now we have another newborn baby in the house who doesn't sleep at all, but I'm still functioning. I'm still able to smile. Shouldn't say I'm functioning. I did have to have them go to my girlfriend for a couple of nights so I could catch up on my sleep, but that's now my other story. So keep it real. Don't exaggerate. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Because if I have diabetes is caused by inflammation. I'm going to tell people. I have on the back of my car window, I don't know if you guys have all seen my car,
I've seen it,
I
yeah.
have inflammation is the very first word, and then it's diabetes, obesity's on there. You know, it's all linked. So my husband, his is arthritis, that's inflammation.
So have you had people call you from that moving ad?
I have actually. I've had 2 phone calls from, one was on the ferry. Mark and I went over to the ferry and over to Vancouver on the ferry. Somebody called from there, and I've had somebody took a picture of my car, but it ends up being another distributor's friend in my town going, "Oh, somebody's here with your business." So it actually kind of helped her out too. But
Okay.
yeah, so yeah. And people ask if I'm in a parking lot loading my groceries, "Oh, what is this?" And then I'll stop and talk.
So it's like a business card, that's a mobile business card.
Yeah, yeah, it's a billboard for sure.
Very, very good idea.
People are starting to recognize the little iGalen logo, which
Yeah.
is great.
So given that we've just had an announcement of 3 major new markets opening within literally 3 weeks,
Yeah.
what do you plan to do about it? You know, as a team or personally, do you have some activity down under, and you know how are you going to exploit that big opening?
Yeah, I have some connections in Australia. Unfortunately, they're doing other network marketing companies, but I buy from them and they buy from me, so it's kind of nice that way. And I have friends over here that are in that market. I do have team members that have a team over in Australia. I haven't heard New Zealand yet. For personally for myself, I'm going with Singapore. So
Oh,
I'm making friends off of Facebook. I just
oh.
friend people and just say, hey, you know what, my company is opening up in Singapore, and I'm just wanting to make friends and leave it at that. I'm not asking them to join me. I'm just, creating conversation right now.
So how are you finding people in Singapore to make friends with?
I think they love the Canadians, to tell you the truth. I think they're okay with that. Like, oh, you're in Canada, that's beautiful. I'm like, yeah, it is really beautiful. So it's just building relationships right now. And
Okay.
Yeah, go from
Well,
there.
well, without asking for all your
It hurts.
secrets.
No, but you guys, it can't hurt, right? Like
No,
I've always
absolutely.
been one that my husband, it used to drive him nuts in our early stages where I would go anywhere and make friends or see people I knew, and he'd go, "Can we not go anywhere where you don't know somebody?" I'm like, "No, no," because I've always been that way. I make friends wherever I go, so it's why not make friends before I actually go there, right?
Well, absolutely, it's a great idea, and
Mhm.
I think that you've been terrific with your information and your my when I met Betty Ann recently and had her on the call, the name I ended up giving her was irrepressible because you couldn't stop her. You couldn't control her. But with you, I'm going to just from now on call you the Energizer Bunny because you give so much energy and you give so much to so many people. It's wonderful to get to know you better. And
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you as part of the Ruby and Above team. If you're okay with it, we're going to open up the call for a few questions. We've got another
Sure.
8 minutes or so before we get shut down by the
Oh,
system.
that's perfect.
So if you're good, I'll just unmute people and let's see who wants to know more from you. So everybody is now unmuted, and you can ask some questions. Anybody? Oh no, you're not unmuted. Hold on, unmute all. There we go.
There we go.
Oh no, it's still not done.
Oh,
Okay, now you're
Right.
all unmuted. Anybody have any questions for Michele?
I'm Michelle. I'm 10.
Hi, Ken.
My cousin, she has low iron. I heard you mention about your low iron is coming up.
Right.
You're not taking no medication for that, are you?
I
Or just
am. I'm just on a supplement. That's it. Just I was so low that the doctor actually, when he wrote out the prescription for the supplement, he had me on it 3 times a day, and the pharmacist said, "Whoa, that's an awful lot." When I told him where my count was, he was like, "Okay." And so now it's been weaned down to one a day, but and I don't know. I'm not too sure. I have to go for more blood work, but I might be on that for the rest of my life. It was very
okay?
low, like
'Cause
very low.
she was saying that when she bleeds, she's almost like a yellow. Her blood is yellow.
Well, I would suggest you go to the doctor and get
Oh
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's why she. But she just want to know if Emlyn would help that.
Um, you know what? I'm going to be honest here, and Dr. Gluckman, you can step in and answer that for me. Um, Low iron has nothing to do with inflammation, though, right? So I wouldn't tie that in with Amulin myself. I don't know, John. What do you think about that? I would keep it separate, wouldn't you?
well, iron iron has a very important role in the body because, as you know, the blood cells have something called hemoglobin, which is an iron base, and it's the little component or molecule that carries the oxygen. So, playing around with iron levels is not a good idea. And so, whoever you're calling about, your sister or whoever it is, you need to get under control with the medical doctor. We're not the right people to make any recommendations, but definitely get it under control.
Okay,
Anybody
thank
else
you.
have any questions? Thanks, Ken. Anybody else want to say anything to Michele?
John,
Janet?
it's
Go ahead,
Jana.
Janet.
I just like to thank you, Michelle, for being so authentic and
Oh,
for
thanks, Jenna.
everything you give to everyone. You are just an amazing, selfless, servant-driven leader, and I'm so proud of you. And you make me cry.
Don't, because you'll make me cry seriously. You know what? For you to say that, Jenna, I'm so touched. Thank you so much. Truly.
It's absolutely
So,
true.
hey, so Mike, you were at the meeting in Anaheim last night. Were you not?
Yes, I was.
Oh, good. So Dory and Dr. Nelson and yourself had a dozen or 15 people there. How did the meeting go after that? How did the results
Oh,
go?
I thought it went very well.
Oh, good.
Dory's just down to earth and straightforward. No hype, just the facts, and the facts are terrific. So they sell great.
Okay.
And so we had several
Hey,
guests and chiropractor there as well.
Oh, good.
And so we heard Dory's complete story from A to Z, and
Okay.
also Jay Lawrence was there,
Okay, good.
and he added a lot to the meeting as well.
Good. Thank you, Mike. We have about 5 minutes left if anybody wants to chime in before we get shut down. Any last
Hi,
comments?
John.
Yeah, good.
Hi, John. It's Eileen.
Hi, Eileen.
Hi. I
Go
just
for
wanted
it.
to say kudos to Michelle for what a great presentation. You are so real, and love you with all my heart, sweetie. And
Thank you,
it's
guys. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, thank you.
yeah, no, and thank you for the pep talk today.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
anytime, my girl. Anytime. You guys,
Love
it's
you too.
amazing how if people come into your life for a reason, season, or lifetime. And, you know, it took me 50 years to get people in my life that I know are here for my lifetime. And I have been told often that I am an organic leader. In my previous company, I didn't have a leader, right? I led myself, I led my team. And I don't know, I'm just blessed to have now the support. I have Jana, I have Eileen, I have Angie, I have John. I mean, we don't even have to be on the same team. No, and I don't feel like anybody's above anybody else. It's just the support. It's truly is it's an organic family we have here, and it's amazing. It's really truly amazing.
Well, thank you so much. We're obviously we have an amazing future coming up with the new products that are going to be introduced in Las Vegas, and some more things. Obviously, with the opening of Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore on August the 21st. So the next 3 to 4 weeks should be very, very busy times. All of you who want to know more about this, let me unmute. Let me mute the whole thing for a minute. All of you that want to know more about what Jana is doing with some of us with this diamond run to Vegas, just reach out to whoever your upline is, and they'll get you in touch with the information that you need. The next major call on that program is going to be on Tuesday night, so you have about 4 days to actually get into the deal, and then it's intense work for about 90 days. So pretty exciting few months coming up. And the next call will be on Thursday night next week, and it'll be Dory O'Neill as our guest. So hopefully we can fill up the board for that. Michele, thank you again so much for agreeing to be on the call, and the rest of the people that I've sent the invitations to join us. Hopefully you'll get in touch with me and get me a date so I can actually schedule you into September and October. But for now, it's a wrap, and good night to everybody, and go build your business. Hi, Galen.
Night, John.
Good
Everyone.
night, guys.
Thank you,
Good night,
John.
Michele.
Thank you, beautiful Michele.
Thank you, Michelle. It was amazing.